Greetings everyone, and welcome back to another Attack of the Clones video, a series in which I take a look at clones that are supposedly one-to-one replicas of the real deal, but with mixed results. This series caters towards phones that only run Android. The phone archive is more for, well, archive videos and the obscure clones. Probably doesn't make much sense, but it's just to split the two up, but anywho. Before we get into this, you all know the drill with my in-depth videos now. There will be timestamps left in the description, as well as the pinned comments, so you can skip to wherever you need to be. For example, if you want to go to the Teardown, then there is a little timestamp that you can just click and it takes you there. It's absolute magic. We live in some amazing times. Also, a bit of a disclaimer, I don't endorse the purchasing of any replica or knockoff products. Even though I did buy the item we're looking at today from a certain website many years ago, this is just for entertainment, simply to see how bad these things are. Alright, enough pre-intro, let's get into an actual introduction. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Just go along with it. And here we have the iPhone 7. There we go. Released in September 2016, which is 5 years ago. Well, it'll be 6 years ago this year, actually. Time flies. The iPhone 7 was met with quite a lot of criticism due to the removal of the famous headphone jack. And this step made other manufacturers follow, and now it's quite common for your brand new $1,500 smartphone to not have a headphone jack. Budget phones still have a headphone jack, but your actual flagships don't. Even though you can just use a dongle or use some Bluetooth headphones, it was still a big thing, and of course the iPhone 7 was another big release in Apple's lineup. It's basically an iPhone 6s, but slightly different, and the specs are also slightly better. Okay, I'll put the specs on screen for you all, as well as the retail price for a 128GB iPhone 7, so feel free to pause the video if you need to, because my friends, we will be looking at something that doesn't even come anywhere near those displayed specs or price. Now, the phone that we're taking a look at today is obviously an iPhone 7 clone, and it's been spoiled in the title, but I bought this from a website. Don't want to get too specific there, but it was around 70 Australian dollars, and I bought this back in April 2017, and I actually made a video on it. Here is a snippet of S'MOOREZ from 2017. Enjoy. Judging by the title, you've already seen it, but this is an iPhone 7 one-to-one clone right here. Wow, that is certainly something. Anyways, the iPhone 7, or should I say a Goophone i7, as they are usually called, this is the super low quality version that's supposedly one-to-one. We'll get to that. Also, one other thing I completely forgot, it has almost been 2 years since I began the iPhone clone month, and originally it was only going to have a couple more iPhone 4s and iPhone 5 and then the rest, but 2 years have passed and I'm only getting back to them now. I was going to finish up the clone month due to the SE 2022 being released, but what I want to do is just review the 3 phones I have, which is another 7 clone and a 7 Plus clone, and then I'll get back to the other ones at a later date since I've collected more, including the world famous Airphone 4 that Ashens originally reviewed back in years ago. I'm not going to mention the year that was published because I already feel old enough. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. It's time to have a look at the product. Here is the product here. This is the jet black iPhone 7. The box is very, yeah, you can see it's an iPhone 7. Going around the box, there you go. It says iPhone 7 there, but you know, like that. There's the Apple logo. You can barely see it. Does say iPhone there. Nothing there as well. On the back is where things get super interesting because you can't even see anything. We have 128GB. Includes iPhone 7 earpods with remote and mic, lightning to USB cable, and USB power adapter. Supports GSM, UMTS, and LTE cellular technologies, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and all that sort of bullshit. Is there any spelling mistakes? Doesn't look like it. We've got a barcode, and then moving down, we have iPhone 7 Gold, 128GB, model A1688, and there's all the serial numbers and stuff. Feel free to look these up if you want to and tell me where these are all pinched from. I'm not even sure if this corresponds with the real iPhone 7 or not. And Apple, USA, 2016, Apple, all that sort of good stuff. Okay, what's in the box? It's cardboard. Insert. This is actually how I received this. There was a SIM eject tool here, but when I opened this up in the video, this is how the page was. It was ripped up the top. I'll display the original footage. SIM removal tool, and just a quick start guide, which has been eaten by something. Well, there you go. That's a first. See? That's how I got it. Absolute quality. We've got the phone itself, and we've got a power brick, which doesn't have any Apple stuff on it, but we've got some information there for use with information technology equipment made in China. And everything else that came in the box I've kind of pinched, like the cable, and I think it actually did come with some earphones with the lightning port on them, but I've since pinched them and who knows where they've disappeared to. Here it is, without any fingerprints on it. So I'll just carefully pick it up and show you all the front first. This is the jet black iPhone 7 one-to-one, really crap quality. At the top, we have our front camera, our earpiece, and supposedly a sensor, which I don't think is there. Our 4.7-inch LCD. We've got the home button, Touch ID, we'll show you that later on the video. The size of the phone, mute switch, antenna bands. I didn't really clean this up well, did I? Volume buttons, the top, all looking very one-to-one-ish. Power button, SIM tray, and then at the bottom, speaker grills, 2 pentalobe screws, and the lightning port. And on the back, we've got the rear camera, the True Tone LED flash. There's also a hole there. That's for a button. I think that's a kill switch if the phone freezes while you're using it, but we'll test that. And the Apple logo, looking nice and sharp. And finally, the text. That's how it looked like when I first received it, and that's what it looks like now. You can pretty much just scratch this text off the back of the phone if you wanted to, but I'll just leave it in its current state. And the question is, how does it fare up to a real iPhone 7? The build quality on the Goophones is all plastic, whereas it's aluminium on the real deal. The screen is also slightly bigger on the real deal, but everything else is pretty much in the same areas. It's supposedly one-to-one, and it kind of is. I'll give him that. But the back, there's obviously some clear differences, like the rear camera, True Tone LED flash, the Apple logos just there. Obviously you got the shiny one on there, whereas that's jet black. I'm pretty sure it's jet black on the real deal anyways. And then the text at the bottom, that's what that looks like, and the real deal looks like that. It's a big difference, isn't it? Alright, let's chuck a SIM card in here. So accordingly, Telstra still has 3G going till 2024, so we've got 2 more years, folks, before 3G is no more in Australia. Alright, without further ado, let's power on the Goophone i7 and see how hard they tried to make this look like it's iOS, even though we're running Android on this. There we go. Vibrates, and there you go. We're booting. We're getting there. Please wait. Look at that. We've got a setup screen. The mute switch actually works, which is quite interesting. Alright, so setting this up, we've got the accessibility option up here, which you've got the notification center, device, control center, home, Siri. That's not going to work. Slide to set it up. Now, to anyone who actually uses an iPhone, you may see that the text is slightly off, just slightly. So we'll go ahead and look. There we are. Alright, so the keyboard is Sudoku. Alright, cool, no worries. Next to that one, select Wi-Fi. Looking legit. You can't even see what's going on, man. Well, there's your Apple keyboard there, and the very Android-looking window here. Anyone actually want to take a guess on what Android version this is running? You may have been able to tell by that window. We'll disable location services. Yep, we've gone back to pre-iOS 7 at this point in time, so we'll just go OK. Welcome to Use iPhone. Come in to use. Ta-da! If I take it away, and you just have a quick glance, you'd think, oh yeah, that's an iPhone 7, 100%, but you start to look closely, you'll see that the display, look, it's alright, it will do, but the colours are definitely nothing like the real deal. So if we swipe down like so, we've got all shortcuts there, which shows stocks and all that sort of thing, and then if you scroll along, no notifications. You can also not do search. That doesn't work. If we swipe up, there we go. That works. So you've got all the stuff there. Oh, can we test the torch? Hey, it's on. It's not half bad. It will do. AirDrop close. Oh, wait, what? We can actually do something? You can be discoverable in AirDrop to receive from everyone or only people in your contacts. Okay, we'll just cancel that. Night shift. Oof, night shift just dims the display. Fair enough. You got your clock there. We'll talk about the home button soon. But yeah, we've got mail, calendar, photos, camera, maps, clock, weather, wallet, notes, reminders, stocks, videos, iBooks, iTunes Store, App Store, home, health, settings, FaceTime, calculator, podcast, Apple Watch, and extras, which has, get out of the way, compass, tips, voice memos, contacts, and file manager. So to the untrained eye, and anyone who's actually used an iOS device, you'd know straight away that that's fairly laggy. You can see it just chugging away there. Otherwise, you wouldn't suspect too much, unless you tried using the home button. If you press over here, you can activate home. Like so. And then you can also activate it over here if you want to. And then going to the actual home button itself, it's kind of at the top it works, but not the bottom. But the capacitive area is pretty much from there to about there. But if you're wondering, touching and holding brings up this. Hello. I think it answered me. So that's what Siri looks like on this. It's actually using the voice search that was on older iPhones before Siri. It's kind of a mishmash of everything. I'm going to try and give this a call and see if it actually works. It'd be amazing if this actually picks up. I don't think it does. I think this is 2G only. Sounds good. Does it actually work still? Oh. The earpiece is dead. Does the mic work? Yeah, the mic works. Yeah, the earpiece is dead. There is a small chance that I may have broken the earpiece when I originally took this apart. Small chance. It's possible. It can receive calls, so it is 3G, but we'll go into settings soon and take a look. Switch works. Buttons work. That's not obvious at all. And locking it. Press home to unlock, which you can just go over here if you wanted to, and bam, there you go. So let's leave the apps for now and jump straight to settings. This is what it's looking like. You've got airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, which we'll just take a look. Enable 4G. That's not really true. It also says no service now at the moment. Use cellular data for all that stuff there. Personal hotspot, carrier, Telstra. We'll just select manually. Yep, no problems. Oh, yep, there you go. And we're back to having Telstra again. So, yep. 3G only, but it's better than nothing. Notification center looks a little something like this. All the text is just bunched together. So it's looking pretty... What is Cheng Ping Quail Pie? No idea. Do not include. Empty. All the text is just, yeah, bunched together. No spaces. At least they tried. I'll give them A for effort. Control center. Swipe up from the bottom of the screen to view control center. Well, we know that works. Took 3 tries, but it works. Do not disturb. Looks a little something like this. You folks that use iPhones are going to have to tell me how close this is to the real deal, but I can safely assume that it's nothing even close to it. In general though, if we go to About, here is where you'll see some good stuff. So it is the iPhone 7. It's on Telstra. We've got 3 songs, 4 videos, 29 photos, 23 applications. The capacity is 125 gigabytes. iOS 10 it reckons. Serial number, model number, Bluetooth, IMEI, and all that sort of stuff there. And as I said, if you want to look all that up, feel free, but that's all of it there. And then if you go to legal, does it show anything? Oh, it actually shows stuff in legal. Oh, it actually shows stuff. That's surprising. Oh, let's try a software update. Let's see what this looks like. Your software is up to date. Cool. Thank you, Goophone. Siri is on. By memory, half of these things don't even work. Oh wait, there we go. That works. Accessibility, I'll turn this off actually. Assistive touch, there we go. Reachability, gesture, light screen, unknown sources. Also, yeah, so I've already dumped the system files off this. They're in the description below, so if you want to take a look at them, feel free. But yeah, I had problems because if I go into settings where it shows iOS 10, you can't do anything. You can't press several times to make the Android Easter egg come up, nothing like that. Developer options is already enabled, but it's in accessibility. And I didn't even know this, so I installed Quick Shortcut Maker and used that to launch developer options and then switch on USB debugging and then realized I didn't need to switch on USB debugging to dump the system files off this because it's running a very outdated version of Android. Won't spoil it yet, but I think you get the rough idea of what this is running. Storage, phone storage or SD card. We're going to need to use that SD card to install applications because there is absolutely fuck all internal memory. In keyboard, looks a little something like this. Can we change the keyboard to something else? Oh, frozen keyboard. Glad that's there. Yeah, Android keyboard. Debunked that one pretty quick. So that's pretty much all in there. In display and brightness, we've just got auto brightness, view, text size, and bold text. That's it. In wallpaper, we can see the default wallpapers that they've put on here. So dynamic, we've got all the ones that are on Android 4. And you can't swipe to go back either. That's not a function implemented yet. Look how laggy it is. Oh, it's good. So there's all the default wallpapers. I'm pretty sure you know where these are pinched from. And do the live ones actually work? Nope, it is just a still image. It's close enough. Also, watch the battery percentage. I know the battery capacity in this already, and I can tell you the reason why that will dip down very fast is because of the capacity of the battery. For an Android device, it's definitely not a good capacity. Sound, you've got change with buttons yelling at you there. Ringtone is opening. iOS 10, there you go, back in time there. Does this ever fucking end? I'm glad they pinched the highest quality ringtones they could to put on this. I mean, there's stuffable internal storage, so I guess that's why they've had to compress them down. But otherwise, yep, vibrate on touch. That it kind of does, sort of. We've got Siri up next, which I think is just a switch. Oh, there it is there. I'll say Siri. Okay. Say Siri. Say Siri. Say Siri. I don't think that works. Yeah, I'll just ignore that. Touch ID and passcode. Here we go. iPhone unlock. Add finger touch. Place your finger. So I'll just, and roll it over here. As you do. Look, not even pressing the home button. This is sophisticated. It's new technology. Oh, we'll just go over here now. Yeah, just do that. Do this. Oh, it's taking it back. I don't know, we'll use this. There we go, see? Done. Cool. We did it. Yay. Does it actually work though? I broke it. Okay, so we've got to set a password, and now we should be able to use Touch ID. Oh, there we go. Even with the passcode on, it doesn't work. Obviously, we know it's a fake one, because you can use it over here and over there and over there, so once I tear it down, I'll take a better look at it, if I can. Battery is looking a little something like that. The battery scale's at 100 and the battery health is good. Time since boot, 23 minutes. And it's dropped from, what, 100% to 75%? Privacy. I guess we'll just leave all of this. iCloud. Good luck. If you want to put your iCloud details into here, my friend, you absolutely go for it. Otherwise, I'm not even going to touch this. So if you create a new Apple ID, it just email. There's no Gmail there either. My email account. Glad they got that one right. Forgot Apple ID or password. Does this bring anything up? No. Doesn't. iTunes and app stores. Apple ID, jerry@kingstone.com. That's completely me. And you can't do anything else in there either. Also, you may want to pause in these menus because there's probably going to be some really funny mistakes hidden here and there. Mail, contacts, and calendars is where you can add your Gmail if you wanted to. Notes just looks a little something like that. Reminders looks a little something like that. Phone looks a little something like that. Messages looks a little something like that. FaceTime looks a little something like FaceTime. Use your Apple ID for FaceTime. Go for it. Nope, that's not happening today. Maps. No voice. Cool. Compass. Use True North. Safari. Search engine. Google. Does this look all legit? Nope. Advanced Star. Looks legit. Music. Shake to shuffle. Lyrics and podcast info. Apple ID. Once again, click that. Doesn't do anything. Widescreen and TV signal. Alright. Videos. Start playing. Apple ID. Doesn't do anything there. Photos and camera. It says it has HDR, but it does not have HDR. iBooks. iBooks. Okay, podcasts. Okay, never mind. Game Center. Oh, hello. An Apple ID is the login you use for just about everything you do with Apple. Yep. Works fine. Twitter, Facebook, Flickr, Vimeo, Cena, Weibo, Tencent, Weibo, Nike Plus iPod. Looks like this. Reset calibration. Go Nike Plus. Go Nike Plus. Okay, maybe need that on. Go Nike Plus. It doesn't matter. And APNs. There we go. Alrighty. So the question was, looking through settings, does this all look legit? As I said, they tried. Also, did you notice the whole phone storage and SD card thing? I think you would have all worked out by now that this actually has an SD card inside of this, which I installed that the last time I tore this down, which was 2017. Well, let's just quickly open up the apps that we do have and start testing out this phone. So, Mail looks like this. Calendar looks like a calendar. Photos. Shows the photos that I took with this. Let me just say the camera quality is, let's open camera. Here you go. Camera looks like this. So HDR is off. We have slow-mo, which doesn't work. We have time-lapse, which doesn't work. We have video that works. Photo works. Square doesn't work. Oh, yes it does. And panorama kind of does work. There is actually autofocus on this thing. So if you touch and hold, there you go. See? I'll do that again just to make sure. Look. Wait for it. There you go. It did struggle while I was doing the camera test. I'd go autofocus and I'd go, nope, nope. I just don't even want to. And obviously you can't change the settings here. And in settings, you can't change the settings for the camera, which makes sense. Flash is on. I've taken photos with the flash as well. And if we swap to the front camera, it clicks. And that's what the front camera looks like. Maybe a little bit smudged because fingerprints and all that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do for you all is show you how the zoom function works as well. Is this how it was on iPhones? I'm not too sure. It probably is, but that works. What I'll do though is I'll splice in the photos and videos that I took with our low quality GOOPHONE i7 and we will continue on with this review. Alright, here we go. This is the rear camera quality of the GOOPHONE i7, the lowest quality one. And we do appear to have some sort of autofocus, ever so slightly. It doesn't do much, but it does something. There we go. See? Kind of worked. The flowers that I need to get cut away because they're overgrown and stuff. Can you even see them? Wait for it. Give it a moment. That just looks like a cartoon right there. That's good quality. Loving it. Also, can you hear the crickets? It's alright, I'll complain about it later. The three Muppets, looking like so. There appears to be some sort of stabilization on, but since I can't change any of the video settings whatsoever, well, as far as I can tell, because I'm doing this before I actually check out settings, I think all the settings are stuck as they are, but I'll have to check, but I'm pretty sure this is what it's going to be stuck at. Because there's like slow-mo and panorama and all that sort of stuff. That's not going to work. Nothing like that's going to work on here. But no, there is some sort of stabilization. It is working. Hey Stuart. No lemons. Nope. None at all. There could be, but I just can't see because it's just too big. Anyways, far away aircon looks a little something like this with a 4x digital zoom. There you go. Can you see anything? Not really. It's all pixelated and stuff. Well, that's pretty much this. What's the sky looking like? Ooh, sky looks water damaged. Yeah, that's a first. Let's go into the front camera and see what that looks like. Slow-mo my ass. Look at her eyes. It's pure evil. And flop. There you go. Beautiful. You can hear crickets. Again. But this is what night mode looks like on the GOOPHONE i7 low quality. And at the moment there's... Wait, there is autofocus? Holy moly. Kind of. Sort of. Oh, let's zoom into the frog. Oh god. Is there a cat around somewhere? I can hear something. Alright, I'll go back inside. Can you hear the crickets? Can you hear them? It's 5 o'clock in the evening, but yet they're still screaming. But anyways, this is the quality of the front camera of the lowest quality iPhone 7 GOOPHONE thing. And this is what it looks like. Do we have any jelly movement? Not really, which is surprising. I look completely perfect. I look absolutely wonderful as usual. I look dead. Anyways, it's not the best. No autofocus, no nothing. It's very bare bones. But, what else can I say? Okay, so you've seen the photos and videos that I've taken with said device, no HDR, but there's autofocus. I will give this credit for having autofocus. Look, the front camera is just so-so, the rear camera is so-so, but it will do. For a cheapo device like this, video on the other hand is another story. But anyways, we'll move on. I've installed some applications, so I've got GTA 3, system info, device info hardware, and secret codes, so we will get to them eventually. Let's go ahead and open up the rest of the applications. So I've got Maps, which is Google Maps. Of course it is. Clock, well I think we've already seen that before. Weather actually looks like this. That's what it's looking like. Yeah, that's about right. 9 degrees on Friday? Really? Wallet looks like this. Scan code. Find apps wallet. Oh, actually, wait, what? It does work. Wait. Unfortunately, wallet has stopped working. I'm glad it stopped working. Accomplish. That's the first time I've pressed the accomplish button. There's a first time for everything. Notes is gonna look like that. So you can choose to have new notes and then do a note. There you go. And then you can save that note and then you can go back and there you go. You've got a note. That was easy. Reminders looks a little something like this. How's the stock market looking today? Good. As for videos, I kind of accidentally took my test ones off the phone when I was copying stuff over to it, but you wouldn't have been missing much. I'll try and get YouTube open with Safari and see if we can play Costa Rica in 4K. iBooks. Pretty sure this is legit. There you go. Settings. Check update. Why not? Let's see if we got an update. Oh. It opened in the Play Store. The browser is no longer supported. So with that, I'm pretty sure you all know that this is running Android 4 something. But iTunes Store looks a little something like this. There is no iTunes Store, it is just the music on the device. So I guess that means it's time for the speaker test. So I'll go ahead and play BFG Division, which it looks like that. I think the mute's... oh, there we go. Oh, why is it not playing anything? Maybe we actually have to go into music to play it, maybe? That would make sense. App Store looks like... This thing absolutely looks legit. 100% looking like the App Store. Let's just see if Flappy Bird's on here, or all of its clones. Update. Okay, well update. No updates available. I'm confused. Oh, look. It's the iPhone, iPhone 7 Plus. Oh, good. And the iPhone 7, of course. Leaderboard, explore content. What's the premium content? What's the free content? What's the top charts? Oh, hello, we got something. Oh, no, update 1. It probably did work years ago, but now it's just completely broken and doesn't do anything. Home looks like home. Can we add stuff? Yes. You can actually do stuff here? Remove home. Deleting this home will also delete all of its data from iCloud. Delete. I just deleted my home. Also, it says welcome home. Just the pure jankiness of this thing is just... it's beautiful. Health. Let's see what health is looking like. Alright. My info. We'll just continue with that. Yep. Okay. We're done. Get started. Give it some time. It's broken. No worries. Let me just open music up. Oh, hello. That's looking somewhat better. What? It's not mute. It doesn't work. Okay. It clearly played sounds when I went into settings. I'm going to open Safari. Sorry, Safari. Yeah, as you can see, Safari. We'll go to Google, which is opening Mopop. Well, let's go to m.youtube.com. That's not failed at that. Will music actually play through here? What has happened to the sound? So, what? Hang on. What the fuck is going on here? I'm going to reboot the phone, just in case. There we go. Reboot. Start again. Maybe it's just a small glitch with iOS. Does it work now? Oh, hello. It was just a glitch with iOS. Oh. It reckons 101.1 we got to, but that did sound quite atrocious. Let me actually open up music and see if it's any different. Nope. It's really crunchy. That's a way to describe a speaker. Look, I'll admit that some Wacom phones we've had a look at have had better speakers on it than this thing. At 100% volume, it tries. Let's try Costa Rica in 4K and see what this looks like. Alrighty, here we go. Look at it lag. It's good. 4K. Here we go. Does this have an accelerometer? Holy shit, it does. Alright, 720p. We've possibly broken it. There we go. So I get a good look at the colours. It's not too bad. Wait, this is 720p? Oh, there we go. There's the lag. Kicking in though. It's not too bad. I was expecting worse, actually. The display isn't too bad. For $70, what I paid for it all those years ago, it's not bad. I have a feeling though that this full screen thing that has happened here has not put it into 720p. I think it's put into 360p, and that's why it's running a little bit smooth. But I think you get the idea that YouTube does work on this. However, just trying to type in something, it just starts to get laggy, and that goes the same with browsing as well. Browsing on this, you can do a little bit of browsing, but don't expect to do much. If you've ever had this back in 2017, you'd be able to open Google and maybe type in a couple of things and it'd probably crash. Something along those lines. Also, the phone is warming up. I can feel it through the plastic fingerprint magnet there. It's getting quite warm all around there. But moving on, we've got FaceTime next, which looks like stretched front camera. This is FaceTime, and then you could just go to contacts and add your contacts, and then can we... okay. I'm sure that works. Calculator we've looked at. Podcasts, I don't think that does anything. Didn't do anything in settings. Oh, it just... that opens up YouTube. So we do have the YouTube app on here. Apple Watch. Good afternoon. If you have an Apple Watch, you can pair it with your iPhone here. Start pairing. Okay. Hold Apple Watch up to the camera. I have an Apple Watch. We'll come back to this as my Apple Watch is charging. So then we have extras, which is compass, which... that works. I'll set it down. There we go. Which way is north? That way. Tips? They're just JPEGs. They look good. Cool. They just pinched off the real deal. iOS 8? No worries, it's just a bunch of JPEGs. This will all be in the system files, by the way, so you'll be able to have a look at them. Voice memos looks like this. No records. Well, there is a record now. How does it sound?
There is a record now.
It works. and it crashed. Contacts is just contacts. And then finally, File Manager shows my SD card, which is 16 gigabytes. The internal storage though is so low that it will not let you actually put anything on there. You only have 12 megabytes of free space to put on this thing. So that's why you have to install an SD card, which was not installed when I bought this. I had to put it in myself. Well, that is pretty much everything. All the default stuff that's installed on this phone. It barely works like an iPhone. It kind of looks like an iPhone, and it kind of looks like iOS. Let's try gaming and see how this performs. Put everything up on maximum. Why not? I know that GTA 3 runs on pretty much anything, but does it run on this? That's the question. Yes. Benchy. At 3 frames a second. Okay, I did put everything up on the high settings. Get in, Claude. There we go. Alright. Is it playable? Am I going to flip the car? Better look through the viewfinder to see where I'm going. Oh yeah, it's got input lag. Whoop, uh-oh, gonna flip. Whoop, there's a bus. I'm pretty sure if you lowered all the settings down, it'd be playable, but it looks nice. I mean, instead of the App Store, you've got the Play Store on here, so you could have installed all the wonderful stuff that was available on the Play Store back in 2016, if you wanted to. That's GTA 3. It runs. But now it's time to actually show you the specifications inside of this Goophone. So I'll open up device info hardware first. And there we go. So we do have a 960 by 540 display running 4.2.2, 512 megabytes of RAM, 16 gigs of storage, that's the SD card. The system on chip is an MT6572, but then it says it's a crate, which is hinting at Snapdragon, but it's definitely not Snapdragon. Mali 400MP GPU, iPhone 7 in every single place there. I'll do the multi-touch test. Multi-touch, I think it's 2. Yep, it's 2. Memory, 512 meg, and the internal storage, see, 12 megabytes. Yep, that's a thing. Camera, 5 megapixels, 8 megapixel, no, it was, what, 2 megapixels? Battery, 1000 milliamp hours. Thermal, 41 degrees, 43 degrees. Sensors, we've got an accelerometer, a light sensor, and a proximity sensor. That's about it. So let's open the other one, just to double check everything. So it's an Alps NGAJ2CHA, which is an iPhone 7, supposedly. MT6572, 4.2.2, which that means that this CPU is a dual core running at 1 gigahertz. That is correct. 6572 is a dual core, not a quad core. Yeah, so there's the total internal memory, 165 megabytes, and then it says 133 there, but you can only access 12 megabytes if you connect it to a PC. The RAM is 512 megabytes. The screen says 6.9 inches. 540 by 960 is the display resolution, which I will give it credit for a 4.6 inch display. It's about 4.6. Look, I'm not using stolen office work stuff anymore. Yay! So it's a 4.6 inch display. Right there, 4.6 inch. There you go. Battery is looking like that. Sensors, looking like that. Camera, the front and back are both 7.8 megapixels, which is incorrect. So we know the specs now, which this clone was made in 2016, probably around the end of 2016, just to be generous. And this has an MT6572, 512 meg of RAM, and stuff all internal storage, and a decent display. However, the PP phone that I've recently had a look at was sold in 2022 and has basically the same specs and a lower resolution display. So Goophones are better than Wallcoms? Or they're the same thing? They're probably the same thing. Let's try secret codes though and see if there's anything to switch the boot logo or anything like that. I'm really hesitant to do this because I don't want to stuff this up and completely kill it, but I'll just take a look. We'll just open it up and see what's there. So we've got 3 settings for Bluetooth, calendar storage, engineer mode, mail, settings, 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 settings. Are you seriously wanting me to do every single? That's okay. We'll just try one. Let's do one. 162 of them. I didn't say that. Let's just see if this comes up with anything. Nope. Let me try a basic one. 0G. 1 gig ROM. What did I do? Let me try the first settings. Wait. Let me find the first settings. There it is. Yup. Okay. That's something. Oh yeah, that's engineer mode. I have a feeling that each of these settings does something to this phone, which means I may have possibly stuffed up the boot logo or changed the specifications. Hopefully I haven't. The Apple Watch is just powered on, so I'm going to try and pair this. So yeah, I still have this, man. Start pairing. Okay, well, I'm a bit stuck here. Even if I was to do something like that, that's not going to work. I thought the little psychedelic looking display thing pops up when you first power an Apple Watch on, but it doesn't. So then this is completely useless. Well, of course it's not going to be able to pair an Apple Watch, but they've tried. And then if you do pair Apple Watch manually, no, it doesn't do anything. Was worth a shot. Well, that is pretty much everything that I need to cover on this GOOPHONE i7 super low quality version. I do like the display. I will say that. The display is probably the best part of this. Otherwise, the build quality is all plastic, kind of resembles iOS, barely works like iOS, very low specifications, but it would have been okay back in 2016 as a bit of a, hey, I've got an iPhone 7, as I said. Is it actually usable? Not really. For basic stuff, yes, but for anything past that, no. But remember, back then a lot of people were trying to find cheap iPhones, and they probably would have came across these on various websites and went, I'll just buy one of them, no problems, and ended up with one of these and then figured it out, why can't I do half the stuff that I should be able to do on a real iPhone that I can't do on here? And then probably realised their mistake. But don't worry, the next iPhone that we're going to be taking a look at shows a very, very, very big mistake. I'll talk about in the next one. That's it for this. Let's power it off, and I'll power it back on just to make sure I didn't kill it. There we go. Alright. Did I change the boot logo? No, I did not. If you want to go through the system files and take a look and see if there's a list of the hidden codes and what they do, feel free to let me know, because it'd be very interesting to see if there's anything that switches the skin or anything like that. I'll leave that in the description for you to take a look at. But no, it all still works, so I'm happy. 49% battery life, and I've been filming for about an hour and a half. Let's take the thing apart then. And all the fingerprints that are on this thing, man. So we use this to get the pentalobes out. There we go. One pentalobe. And by memory, yep. I don't even need to use a plastic tool. I have slight fingernails now, so stop bugging me. There we go, we're in. The back cover is plastic, but the mute switch is just a little contact just there, like so, which is kind of nifty. Here's the guts. The 1200 milliamp hour battery inside of this. That is definitely something, but the good thing is it's replaceable though. You know, just grab your pry tool and not pull it out. You can disconnect it if you wanted to. I didn't try the button. Let's try the button. I forgot about the button. While it's powering up, we'll just take a look at this manufacturing sticker here, which says that it was made in March of 2017. It says CJ, Carlos Jr., probably. If you look here, there's an all-SIM tray just there, and there's the SD card. Pop that out and put it into the next phone, which is what I'm going to do. That's how that works, but let me just try the button. The button does this. Yep, it's a kill switch. The button's a kill switch. I think all of them have this too. Pop the camera off, which obviously doesn't have any optical image stabilization, and there's no code, so there's a QR code. If anyone wants to try and scan that, feel free. We've got two LED flashes just there, but it appears that only one works. I think the other one is just a sticker. We do have a MediaTek chip just there, if you can see that. It is an MT6323GA. There's also another module just here. What does that say? AWIHIC, maybe an audio chip of some kind. I'll disconnect the battery while I'm here, just, you know, so we don't break anything. The bottom is looking a little something like this. So I'll go ahead and just remove the tape. We'll take a better look at the innards of this. So the bottom PCB looks a little something like this, with a coin style vibration motor, S8980SB just written there, the lightning port just there like so. The home button, however, is part of the touch assembly. So this is the flex ribbon for the touch there, so that would obviously have some sort of capacitive buttons in there for that to work. I would assume. That battery came off nice. I'll just flatten that back out. There we go. Still solid. A KNE 1200 milliamp hour battery. It'll probably swap over the next couple of months now. It adhered quite well into this. So we've got the display just here. Touch. The buttons. A couple of screws hold down the motherboard. And we should be able to get a look at the innards. So I'll just pop this out like so, and there we go. So that is the metal frame that the screen is attached to, and the earpiece looks a little something like this. No wonder why it didn't work. I've actually worked out how the touch works. So they have put a bigger LCD in here, because the LCD ends right there. So we have a look, you can see the LCD will end right there, which is just going along there. So the home button worked mostly when I was touching just there, not down there. So what it is this LCD has a bit that's unused just there for the home button. I actually really want to take this apart now. How does one do that? I tried heating up the display to try and get this apart, and I cannot do it. The LCD I can clearly see. It's situated inside this, but the metal frame is attached to there, and I thought this was just clips to just unhook it, but nope, that's not the case. I have no idea how they have managed to sandwich this together then. That's unfortunate. There's our speaker just there as well, which is nothing too spectacular. The 16 gig SD card, I'll pinch that. And we also have a sticker just here, which peeling that back reveals 2017-0106 3G 4+4. That's not 4 gigabytes and 4 gigabytes, it's 4 gigabits, I think? Well, there's only one proper way to find out. There you go. So we have the MediaTek MT6572 proudly displayed right there, and then we also have a Hynix module, which I'll try and clean that up. You might be able to see it there. I will Google this and see what comes up for this, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4 gigabit module. Also, the front camera is there, which has a code on it. Barely see that? Yeah, you can barely see that. There's also a code on the motherboard there too. Motherboard itself isn't really that interesting apart from the micro SD card slot on there. I love how they've implemented how the capacitive area works by putting a bigger LCD in and having the touchscreen be able to work that far down. That's how it all works. You can control it using that. That makes perfect sense. But it's just unfortunate that I can't rip this away from here, because I feel if I do continue on, I'm gonna break this thing. And I kind of don't want to break this as much as it's already broken anyways. I will put this back together, and then I think we can call this a video, because I think I've talked about this thing far too long. I'll just put the shielding back in there like so to make it legit. Alright. Does it still work? Holy shit, it does. I'll display the full specifications of the GOOPHONE i7 low quality clone on screen, so feel free to pause if you want to learn all the various specifications and all that sort of thing about this device. I'm pretty sure everything is accurate that is shown on screen. I'll do all that during editing. Yeah, that was the teardown and, well, the review of this GOOPHONE i7. It's actually very interesting. What they've done here though, I just didn't think that would have been a thing, but it is. So it doesn't work there, but it works here all the way. Kind of works there, and yeah, it doesn't work right there. Also, if you go into File Manager, there's nothing there now. You can't access the internal storage, unless you connect it up to a PC and then you only get your 12 megabytes. Well anyways folks, that is going to do it for the first installment of my somewhat return to the iPhone clone month that I started 2 years ago. So I'll be having a look at another 2 iPhones in the next few days or so, but the next one is the higher quality iPhone 7 clone, and then we've got an iPhone 7 Plus clone to have a look at. Can't wait to show you them and explain the stories behind them ones. Honestly, this was better than some of the welcome devices I've had a look at. I will say that. There is a reason why I don't review newer Goophones, is because it comes down to Replica stuff. That's just really iffy territory, and I've been there, done that, and I don't really want to step back into that territory. If I'm reviewing older ones, it's not that bad. And welcome devices don't really have brand names and stuff on them, so that's okay. But once again, I don't endorse the sales of any Replica products. I'm just showing this off for entertainment purposes, and if you made it this far, thank you very much. But if you had to use the timestamps that were included in the description and pinned comment, that is okay. That is why they're there for. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed this video for what it was. I hope it was entertaining and taking a look at a pretty shitty GOOPHONE. As usual, that's what we do here. And also I'd like to take a moment to thank you all for 70,000 subscribers. Holy moly. I didn't even think that I would get past 50k, let alone 70k, but we are on the road to the big milestone. It's scary. It is overwhelming and it is scary, but thank you very much everyone that has supported the channel and has enjoyed watching my content for what it is. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to deliver more content in the next coming months or years or however long I'm gonna be doing this for. You all seem to enjoy what I'm doing, so I'll keep at it as best as I can, but thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it, and once again, thank you also for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it and get some laughs out of this silly thing. It's been sitting around for years, may as well cover it now. But anyways everyone, I will leave it here. As always, take care, stay safe, be good people, and I'll see you in the next one, looking at the next iPhone 7 clone. But until then, take care, and I'll see you then. If you like this content, feel free to leave a like or a dislike if you didn't. Thanks heaps for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.